The movie commenced with a young man named Hikaru Tsutsui engrossed in his laptop, passionately commenting on the latest anime film. This caused his beloved 2D waifu, Azumichi, to grow jealous and angry, suspecting Hikaru of having an affair with a character from another anime. In an attempt to appease Azumichi, Hikaru endeavored to seduce her. However, his actions raised concerns for his younger brother, who overheard Hikaru conversing with himself in his room. Hikaru's deep fascination with anime and video games in the virtual realm led him to neglect his real life, spending most of his time isolated, engrossed in his virtual pursuits rather than connecting with others. On an unfortunate day, Hikaru faced a series of misfortunes. He accidentally got splashed with scalding water, his usual route to school was unexpectedly closed for repairs, and he was confronted with a dilemma: assist an elderly woman who had fallen or rescue a stranded kitten. Azumichi lamented to Hikaru about the burdens of living in the real world, where one is faced with challenging choices. Hikaru chose to help both the old woman and the kittens, causing him to nearly be late for school. In his classroom, Hikaru encountered a classmate named Yudo Ito, who shared similar sentiments with Azumichi. Yudo, like Hikaru, preferred indulging in anime and video games over socializing with friends. Before long, they found themselves confronted by delinquent students led by Mitsuya Takanashi. Mitsuya initially mocked Yudo for wearing a cute cat ear headband and then instructed Hikaru to take his place and report to the teacher's room. Inside the teacher's room, Hikaru crossed paths with a girl named Iroha Ikarashi, who was also summoned there. They were both assigned the task of cleaning the swimming pool as a form of punishment. Hikaru believed that someone as beautiful and popular as Iroha would never have to endure such a penalty. Yet, to his surprise, Iroha genuinely accepted the punishment. During an incident, they accidentally fell into the pool. As Hikaru dried his drenched clothes, he seemed distant from Iroha, who extended an invitation to get to know each other. Observing Hikaru's unease, Iroha proposed they go on a date. This unexpected proposition irritated Hikaru, leading him to scold Iroha, convinced that she was merely playing with his emotions and had no genuine interest in dating him. Hurt by Hikaru's rejection, Iroha left him behind. The following day, Hikaru shared his encounter with Iroha with Yudo. Yudo advised Hikaru to apologize to Iroha right away. Taking his friend's suggestion, Hikaru followed Iroha to a bookstore, where a sudden accusation of theft was hurled at her by one of the store employees. Despite Iroha proving her innocence by emptying her bag and revealing her belongings, the employees remained skeptical. Witnessing Iroha's distress, Hikaru defended her, affirming that he had been with her the whole time and she hadn't stolen anything. However, the store employees reported Hikaru to the police, accusing him of stalking Iroha, prompting him to hastily flee from the scene. The next day, Iroha approached Hikaru in his classroom, once again requesting that they publicly start dating. Yet again, Hikaru turned her down. A classmate named Arisa Ishino urged Hikaru to pursue Iroha. Acting on Arisa's advice, Hikaru hurried after Iroha and offered his apology. Although Hikaru remained skeptical about Iroha's persistence in wanting to date him, suspecting her of playing games, he eventually agreed to engage in a 6-month relationship with her, as per her request. From that point forward, Hikaru and Iroha officially became a couple. Iroha requested that Hikaru pick her up every morning, and they would walk to school together, hand in hand. She also shared thoughts on typical couple activities, such as eating meals together, going on dates, embracing each other, and even sharing kisses. That night, Hikaru found himself deep in contemplation within his room, pondering the challenges of dating in the real world, with its numerous expectations and demands from his girlfriend. Azumichi, his imagination of a character, provoked Hikaru, insinuating that Iroha was merely playing with him and seeking to oppress him. Outside Hikaru's room, his parents and younger brother, Kaoru, were secretly listening to his dialogue with Azumichi. The following day, during lunchtime at school, Hikaru and Iroha, sitting together, immediately attracted the attention of their fellow students due to their closeness. Mitsuya was no exception. He approached their table and demanded that Iroha end her relationship with Hikaru and date him instead. Mitsuya openly ridiculed Hikaru's love for anime and video games, claiming to be superior. However, Iroha paid no heed to Mitsuya's words. Hikaru couldn't tolerate the mockery and contemplated striking Mitsuya. Suddenly, Iroha collapsed, becoming weak and helpless. She pleaded with Hikaru to take her to a male doctor named Mabuchi at the hospital. Hikaru swiftly carried Iroha and rushed to the hospital, desperate to ensure his girlfriend received prompt medical care. At the hospital, Hikaru anxiously watched over Iroha, despite her having fully recovered after receiving treatment from Dr. Mabuchi. Witnessing Hikaru's genuine concern, Iroha felt immense happiness, as she had never experienced such caring from a boyfriend before. A few days later, Hikaru sought advice from Arisa on dating, as he had never been in a real-life relationship. However, when the time came for their date, Iroha found Arisa's dating advice dreadfully dull. Instead, Iroha requested that Hikaru take her to his house to meet his family. Hikaru's family was taken aback, as it was the first time Hikaru had brought a beautiful girl home. In light of this, Hikaru's family organized a warm welcome for Iroha and inquired about how their relationship had blossomed. Iroha admitted that she had fallen in love with Hikaru since their first meeting. She then requested to see Hikaru's bedroom. Hearing this, Hikaru and his family unanimously claimed that he didn't have a room, as they wanted to shield Iroha from seeing his space adorned with 2D character Azomichi, whom he considered his waifu. However, Iroha was not easily dissuaded. She pretended to need the restroom and quietly made her way to Hikaru's room on the top floor. Upon entering, Iroha was captivated by the abundance of action figures and posters that adorned his room. Conversely, Hikaru was astounded to discover that Iroha didn't judge him as he had anticipated. She genuinely appreciated his passion for anime and video games and did not consider Hikaru a strange otaku. After watching anime together, Hikaru drove Iroha home, and before she entered her house, she planted a gentle kiss on Hikaru's cheek. The following day, Hikaru confided in Yuto about his successful date and sought advice from Arisa regarding the gift he should give Iroha. However, this time, Arisa asked Hikaru for his help in pursuing Mitsuya. While working part-time in an amusement park, Hikaru coincidentally encountered Iroha, who assisted him in comforting a distraught little girl who had become separated from her mother. Unaware that Hikaru was in the mascot costume, Iroha left after reuniting the girl with her mother. To Hikaru's surprise, he noticed that Iroha was accompanied by Dr. Mabuchi at the amusement park, leading him to question the nature of their relationship, which appeared to be more than just that of a doctor and patient. The next day, Hikaru texted Iroha, informing her that he couldn't pick her up. Subsequently, Hikaru started avoiding Iroha whenever they were at school. One day, while alone in the school garden, Hikaru encountered Sumie Ayato, another student who shared his deep affection for anime and video games. Remarkably, Sumie also held a strong liking for the character Azomichi, much like Hikaru. They engaged in an animated conversation, united by their shared passion. Meanwhile, Iroha observed the closeness between Hikaru and Sumie, leading Mitsuya, who was nearby, to provoke Iroha into ending her relationship with Hikaru. On their way home from school, Iroha and Hikaru coincidentally crossed paths on the street. However, Hikaru, oblivious to the emotions of a woman, responded coldly when Iroha displayed jealousy and sulkiness. He continued to distance himself, allowing misunderstandings to fester. As a result, they grew increasingly distant and began acting like strangers who had never known each other. Eventually, Hikaru approached Mitsuya and falsely claimed that he had broken up with Iroha. Mitsuya, feeling insulted and snubbed, retaliated by punching Hikaru to the ground. Witnessing her helpless boyfriend, Iroha slapped Mitsuya and rushed Hikaru to the hospital. At the hospital, Dr. Mabuchi inquired about the changes he had brought about in Iroha, as she appeared happier and more cheerful since dating Hikaru. This revelation deeply touched Hikaru, as he hadn't expected to have such a profound impact on Iroha's life. Shortly after, Iroha encountered Hikaru alongside a battered Mitsuya. She tenderly embraced her boyfriend, while Hikaru sincerely apologized for his misunderstandings and the sadness he had caused her. The following day, Hikaru introduced Sumie to Iroha and Yuto, proudly declaring Iroha as his girlfriend. Sumie was taken aback upon learning that Hikaru had such a stunning girlfriend in the real world. Meanwhile, Yuto seemed genuinely interested in Sumie from the moment they met. Upon witnessing Hikaru engaged in an animated conversation with Sumie, Iroha immediately felt consumed by jealousy and confided in Arisa, who sat beside her. Arisa proposed that they all go on a picnic together to foster closeness and unity between Hikaru and Iroha. In short, Hikaru and Iroha eventually embarked on a picnic with Arisa, Mitsuya, Yuto, and Sumie. Sumie, who harbored feelings for Hikaru from the beginning, observed Hikaru and Iroha's playful interaction and apparent happiness. Unbeknownst to her, Yuto secretly observed her and felt a pang of sadness, realizing that Sumie actually had feelings for Hikaru. That night, as everyone gathered outside, Hikaru suddenly fell ill and decided to retreat to the inn. Soon after, Sumie entered the inn and discovered Hikaru asleep on the sofa. Silently, she approached him and gently held his hand. However, Iroha caught sight of this and appeared visibly annoyed, prompting Sumie to leave. Sensing something amiss as Iroha departed with a somber expression, Arisa hastily woke Hikaru and urged him to go after his girlfriend. Meanwhile, Yuto approached Sumie, who was in tears, expressing sympathy for Iroha and confessing that she liked Hikaru. Yuto then divulged to everyone, including Hikaru, that Sumie had feelings for him. However, Hikaru politely declined Sumie's affection, stating that he was already committed to Iroha and loved her deeply. Finally, Hikaru found Iroha sitting alone and poured out his heart, confessing his genuine love for her. Simultaneously, Iroha reciprocated, expressing her overwhelming happiness when Hikaru was by her side, and they shared a passionate kiss. In brief, during a Halloween party at school, Iroha reveals to Hikaru that she is suffering from a dangerous illness and urgently needs surgery to treat it. However, the operation comes with high risks, and the chances of her full recovery are uncertain. On Halloween night, exactly 6 months after they started dating, Iroha abruptly ends their relationship and asks Hikaru to forget about her. Tears fill Hikaru's eyes as he remains speechless, unable to comprehend the sudden end to their love story. Iroha walks away, leaving Hikaru in the crowd, silently watching the departure of the girl he deeply loved. 5 years pass since that heart-wrenching incident, and Hikaru now works as a company employee. Thoughts of Iroha still consume his mind, and he occasionally visits the place where they used to meet during their school days, hoping to encounter her again. However, he never finds her there, leading him to believe that happy endings only exist in the world of fiction, not in the real world like his love story with Iroha. One day, Hikaru coincidentally crosses paths with Iroha, but when he calls out to her, she fails to recognize him and swiftly departs. Hikaru subsequently encounters Dr. Mabuchi, who informs him that Iroha has lost almost all her memories following the brain surgery. Dr. Mabuchi requests that Hikaru forget about Iroha since he plans to marry her soon. When Iroha approaches Hikaru and inquires about their connection, Hikaru denies knowing her, claiming that she has mistaken him for someone else. He wishes for Iroha to no longer remember him so that she can embark on a new life with Dr. Mabuchi. That night, Hikaru gathers with his high school friends for a reunion and shares the story of what happened to Iroha, including Dr. Mabuchi's intention to marry her. The friends collectively express sadness upon learning that Iroha has lost her memory, signifying that she no longer recalls them or the moments they shared together in high school. To summarize, the day of Iroha and Dr. Mabuchi's wedding arrived, with Arisa, Mitsuya, Yudo, and Sumie in attendance. Arisa takes the microphone and reminisces about her high school memories with Iroha and their other friends. Yudo presents a gift box to Iroha. Meanwhile, Hikaru engages in a conversation with Azumichi, expressing his unwavering commitment to never forget Iroha and his determination to win her back. Hikaru resolves to fight for their love. As Iroha opens Yudo's gift, she discovers it to be none other than Azumichi's toy wand. Instantly, a rush of memories floods her mind, reminding her of all the precious moments she shared with Hikaru. In that moment, she cancels the wedding and rushes to meet Hikaru. They reunite at a Halloween party where they finally express their unwavering love for each other once more. They are united, bound by love forever. The moral of the story is no matter what life throws at you, love can overcome it all. Hikaru and Iroha's story shows us that true love can bring people back together even when things seem impossible.